Have you given up on trying to get your first starter home? Have you been trying to get your edge in the market, trying to see if you can afford any house out there, but the prices are just too high and the rent is not any better? Well, folks, we have some breaking news because tonight on the State of the Union address, this is the pre-show, and we have some intel, some information for you. President Biden will finally be announcing some plans to help out the American people and assist them with getting their first homes. So let's talk about all the details, what we know so far. This is ahead of the State of the Union address happening tonight at the time of filming this, and this is breaking news. So let's dive in, let's get started. But before we do, of course, let's take care of some housekeeping. Make sure you are subscribed with notifications turned on. I would appreciate that. Also, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up so that way everyone knows about this and has this information. Smash the like button, I would appreciate that. With that being said, let's get started and dive right in. So yes, President Biden will propose a new set of housing initiatives in Thursday's State of the Union address, including tax credits to offset these high mortgage rates for first-time home buyers and encourage people to move out of starter homes and put them on the market. We want to do both ends, right? We want to increase that inventory and also help people out and finally get their first house. The proposals would provide middle-class Americans, first-time buyers with $5,000 per year for 2 years, total of $10,000. That would have the same effect as lowering a buyer's mortgage rate by more than 1.5 percentage points for 2 years on the median home, according to White House data. So that could be very helpful for a lot of people that are struggling with these interest rates right now and finding it impossible to afford the mortgage payments and therefore qualify for a mortgage. Biden will also call on Congress to provide a 1-year credit of up to $10,000 for families who sell their starter homes, so long as their houses are below the median price in the country, in their county rather. In addition, President Biden will also call on Congress to provide a 1-year credit of up to $10,000 for families who sell their starter homes, so long as their houses are below the median price in their county. The idea here is to free up a part of the market that has been effectively frozen because thousands of homeowners cling onto those low mortgages of 2 or 3% and are avoiding buying a new home with a much higher rate. It just doesn't make sense for them to move out into not only a higher price but a higher interest rate. So they just want to hold on to their houses, and that's totally understandable. Now, rent is also driving up inflation, but there's something off in the data. The proposals build on the administration's prior moves to build more homes, tackle high rents, and help first-time generation buyers get a down payment. And the moves come as housing persists as one of the most out-of-reach parts of the economy and remains a key issue for so many voters in this year's election. People are, of course, feeling the effects of inflation, whether it's at the gas pump, the grocery store, everyday expenses, but I think we can all agree that everyone is just in dismay over this housing market, and a lot of people, especially young people my age, feel like they will never, ever be able to own a home in their entire lifetimes. Now, I am a real estate investor, so I could definitely have my opinion on this. I do have about $2 million worth of real estate in my portfolio, and I think it would be interesting coming from my perspective. I'll definitely give some of my thoughts at the end of this video, so make sure you stay tuned for my personal opinion. According to the experts, this plan is the most consequential set of housing recommendations in a State of the Union address in over 50 years. It doesn't come close to anything that we've ever seen from a previous president in modern times. So let's say you got a job, check. A place to live, not so much. And the administration's most consequential housing plan was its commitment to build and preserve 2 million homes. Basically, we have a huge hole that this would make a big dent in. And the supply side is driving housing prices, and this is the most ambitious housing supply agenda in recent history. I mean, you look at any president in the last several decades, whether it's Democrat or Republican, and this is extremely bold, quite audacious of the Biden administration, especially 2024, with November not so far away now. It feels like we were just talking about the election years ago, or rather that it was years upon us, and now it's just months away, and we know it's going to be a Biden-Trump rematch, especially after Super Tuesday. The housing market has been strained from many directions. The country faces a shortfall of millions of homes with underinvestment going back decades. It's not just a Trump or Biden issue. This is a 100-year problem where you just have such little inventory and unfortunately a lot of red tape when it comes to development and building new houses. Rents also soared during the pandemic, quickly becoming a top driver of inflation. Plus, the Federal Reserve's fight to tame inflation prompted a rise in mortgage rates that has continued to push so many buyers out of this market. Now, the one thing Biden also wants you to do is go ahead and smash the like button. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. I would appreciate that. Now, zoomed out even further, Biden's efforts would also be tested by the strange nature of the post-pandemic market, because hundreds of thousands of new units finished construction last year, but much of it skews toward the higher end of the market, and housing experts have grown concerned about a simultaneous hollowing out of more affordable options, right? So people are building. You definitely see property being built out there, but it's those higher end luxury homes and even mansions and it's just more worth it, right? When you look at construction costs and the inflation of the materials to build a home, it just doesn't make sense to put all that effort and work into something that's just a starter home, 2 bedrooms, 1 bedroom, less than 1,000 square feet. It just doesn't make sense. So that's why we're seeing so many developers focus on the higher end luxury market. Senior White House officials argue that many of the White House's efforts to target affordable housing and are designed to open up options for middle class buyers. And President Biden will lay out the boldest plan to lower housing costs and expand housing access in decades. He's going to call on Congress to pass his plan to unlock the housing market by providing mortgage relief to first-time home buyers and homeowners selling their starter homes, and to support private sector construction of 2 million homes, while taking new administrative actions to then lower closing costs and make our rental markets fairer. Meanwhile, some housing experts raise concerns that new credits could inject even more demand into the market while supply is still catching up. And this could possibly push prices even higher. So this is definitely an interesting thought, right? I mean, now if you make it a little bit more accessible for the average everyday American to now purchase a home, and now you have interest rates potentially coming down as well, maybe in the next few months, we're going to start to see rates trickle down a point or two. What's going to happen is, depending on when this is implemented and how fast the Biden administration could push this through, you're just going to see housing prices skyrocket like we've never seen before. And this is probably going to be 2020, 2021 levels of peak housing market prices. So we're in for a wild ride, and this could either be a positive for some people or spell even more trouble. So definitely some dichotomy of thought there, and something to be debated. Some experts argue that this would probably have a very limited impact on housing prices. Increasing the number of buyers will, generally speaking, increase home prices for everyone, and it's pretty straightforward. So what we understand, folks, is that Biden will also call for an expansion of the low-income housing tax credit to build or preserve 1.2 million more affordable rental units. He's also proposing a new neighborhood homes tax credit, the first tax provision to build or renovate affordable homes. And Biden will unveil a new $20 billion competitive grant fund as part of his budget, expected next week, which would support the construction of affordable multifamily rental units and remove barriers to housing development. Now, as he's done before, Biden is also calling on Congress to provide up to $25,000 in down payment assistance to first-generation home buyers. Now, while the home buyer program is unlikely to gain any traction in Congress, the administration has also pointed to several unilateral actions it is taking to provide home buyers and renters with financial relief. Those include steps like to reduce closing costs for home buyers, which the White House stresses could add thousands of dollars to a purchase and put it out of reach. The Federal Housing Finance Agency has also approved new pilots and policies to reduce these costs, including a program to waive title insurance when refinancing a home, as well as a crackdown by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau on anti-competitive closing costs. The White House and the Treasury Department will also pursue additional measures to lower housing insurance costs. And the White House has also pushed for unilateral action to help renters. The Federal Trade Commission last fall proposed banning misleading and hidden fees in numerous areas, including housing rental agreements, while the Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, also identified prohibited non-rent fees within their rental aid programs. Still, in the past, the White House has been criticized for not being more aggressive in its push to aid struggling renters. You see people saying that President Biden is absolutely right, though, to lay out his plans to make housing more affordable. Housing costs are at the top of mind for most Americans, and this is an important piece of unfinished business for the president. So it looks like we're going to see, unfortunately, 4 years into the Biden presidency. It took a long time, but finally we're seeing it. It took so many calls and so much aggression and push, But finally, we're seeing President Biden unveiling something that could eventually make some traction in the Congress. We'll see how it goes. But Biden does want to help out the American people and wants to see housing prices be more affordable and ultimately come down. Will we ever see that happen? That's another question. I want to hear your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. Do you think this is going to actually help the housing market or hurt it even more? So it is great that we're having these initiatives, right? But unfortunately, even $5,000, $10,000, it's just not going to do much. I mean, housing prices are so expensive, and it's not going to help you qualify for the mortgage easier, right? I mean, just because you're getting a few dollars towards the closing costs or maybe the purchase price of a home doesn't automatically mean that you'll qualify for the mortgage on a monthly basis, especially these high interest rates with your income and whatever you're making, right? I mean, it's still so out of reach for the average American who's maybe making minimum wage or a little bit above that. Unfortunately, they're just squeezed out of the housing market and they cannot compete. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, it's good that President Biden hasn't given up on this and he wants to do more, but this is also, it could just be a last minute push and soundbite to make it look like he did something for the American people during his potential final year in office and is making that one final ask of the American people to vote for him for 4 more years. So could be interpreted in different ways, a little ambiguous. We'll see how President Biden lays it out in his State of the Union address tonight. Will you be watching? Will you be tuned in? Let us know down below in the comment section if you'll be watching President Biden's State of the Union address tonight. But certainly interesting times we're living in where a president is stepping in from the executive branch here and doing a lot to help the American people when it comes to housing prices, especially in this time of housing crisis. So with that being said, folks, we're going to keep a close eye on this. We're going to have more updates on this for you, see if President Biden has anything in writing for us tonight, or we'll just review his speech. But with that being said, we look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Make sure you're going to give this video a big thumbs up, share it with a friend, share it on social media, get the word out. Make sure you are subscribed with notifications turned on so that way you'll receive all future updates. If you want to get some free stocks, all on me, all free, not from President Biden, but for myself, go ahead and use the broker's link down below in the comments or the description for that matter. And you sign up with Robinhood, you'll get some free stocks, some valued to thousands of dollars. So let us know what stocks you get. If you want to stay safe, protected, and secure online with today's video sponsor, Aura, use my link down below, sign up with a free trial, and you will stay safe on the interwebs. We will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.